All right, guys, welcome to the Fantasy Sports Wrap. We finally connect. Darren Phillip has been on his sojourn. It's not a vacation, it's a sojourn when you're gone as long as you are.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It
guys
was
were gone for a
fun.
long time.
Yeah, we left on July 11th and we just got back yesterday, August 10th.
Wow.
Just so if you do the simple math, it's about a month.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And this is my thought. You stay with the same in laws the entire time?
Yeah.
And that
I bet they were glad to see us go.
that works?
It works.
Wow.
We're in the it's called a Three Seasons room, which is a Midwest thing where they add on to the house. It's kind of like a covered porch almost.
Yeah.
Well, that's where our inflatable mattresses are. So we're in there with the dogs, got our stuff in there. They have a basement, which is basically where we keep our clothes. So we go down there, change. We got our own bathroom down there. And the dogs loved it. They're on the farm, no
Oh, I
leashes,
bet.
walking around, running around, just ripping through the bean fields, all kinds of stuff. We got back yesterday. They didn't know what to do with themselves. They're like standing in the middle of the room here going, what are we supposed to do?
Like this
It's like
stinks.
100, it's 120 out. It's too hot to go outside. We can't do anything. We got a backyard here, but it's really not the farm. So I think they kind of miss it. They traveled well back though. I mean, it was all right, but they got back and they got their exercise. You can tell they lost some weight while they were back there because especially Mary, they got a lab. Cindy's sister has a lab, and
Wow.
those two they were playing nonstop. It seemed.
So sleeping
So
on an air mattress for 30 days.
3 weeks,
Yikes. Or
about
15, 20 days, 21
yeah.
days?
It did. You kind of get used to it. It's not glamorous, but it worked. It was fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're back, but you're going out of town again. So I don't know. You're
Yeah.
not, you're
Well,
kind
we're going to Chicago for the Arlington Million this week. That's my hat. You asked what my hat's for.
oh, nice. The
Yeah.
Arlington Minions. Oh, million. That's what, yeah.
Million, not minions.
So
No.
you're going Thursday being, and come, when is that? Is that Saturday or Sunday?
It's Saturday. It's Saturday.
So when are you
We'll be
coming
back
home?
Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
Sunday
okay.
afternoon.
Well, I
We
just
can do a show
I
Saturday.
thought a part of me was like, you know what, this trip is going to be good for Darren. His team's not doing so well. He'll get away. He'll detox a little bit. We won't be doing the show quite as much. He can kind of relax a little bit, and it seemed to work because last week you go 8-1-1, had a chance of a 10-0 at one point. I was talking to McKenzie. He's like, dude, I almost got beat 10-0. I was happy for the 1-1. I'm like, dude, we've all had those weeks where you're like, if I can get one win, please.
Yeah. Oh,
And
sure. Sure.
you shot yourself. Now look, there's still a lot of work to do. You're still 8 games back,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you were if you had another bad if this week had been a bad week, it would have been over, I think.
I would have
And,
been out of it.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
put yourself back into it. So maybe the vacationing is what's working for you, man. You get away a little bit. You let the
Little
team play.
little freshening up. Yeah. I kind of let the transactions ride for the last couple of weeks. Didn't spend them all right away. And it gave me some flexibility as the week went on. I started getting more confident in my lineup, picking up guys that were hot hitters and plugging them in. And pitching came through for me last week. I did tie wins. I did lose ERA. I was very close to like Mackenzie said to sweeping
Yeah.
all the categories. I swept the hitting categories, and it was just a real good week for me. My bullpen had some issues with Uehara. He's out for the year. He got hit
Everybody's
by the
bullpens are
line
getting
drive, and
thrashed, man, except for Docs and
yeah,
Jocks so far.
yeah, right,
Yeah, that
right.
hurts.
So
And there's nobody out there to
that
pick
that
up. I mean, Schuff just picked up
well,
Osuno, and I was thinking about grabbing him, but he doesn't get a lot of opportunities because the quite frankly, the Blue Jays don't play a lot of close games, so he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. So that's why I picked Boxberger above him. But I was going to grab Osuna on Monday, and Schuff picked him up, or Sunday, and Schuff picked him up right away.
yeah. I grabbed the Colorado closer.
Who
They had
is,
named a guy over the weekend.
did they? Who is that now?
Tommy Conley. He
Okay.
got two saves over the weekend. They
Oh,
they took
good.
2 out of 3, I think, from Washington. So I grabbed him as a third. I really wasn't sure about Uehara that he was going to be done for the year.
Yeah,
But when they said he had to come back to Boston to get tested by their team doctors, I'm going,
that's
you
not
know
good.
what? This guy's either going to go, he's going on the DL, or it's even worse than that. And it turned out to be worse than that. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit on Monday. I took a chance because I thought this Conley guy is, Colorado's playing Monday. They almost won the game. I mean, they were up late, but then the Mets came back. Of course, it worked out for me because I had Jonathan Neese as the starter, so I picked him up for the week. So got off to a good start there, and I'm going to need it with the pitching because Dox and Jocks is usually tough, pretty tough ERA and WHIP. But I got a big numbers edge on him in starters this week, and I haven't had that I don't think all year, where I've got 14 starts to his 9 or something. So that's going to help with wins and strikeouts. He picked up a guy for today. He picked up Ventura on the Royals for tonight, and I'm kind of liking that pickup because he's been struggling lately. And if he can get lit up tonight, and I can get a jump on ERA and WHIP, I'm going to be in good shape pitching to start out the week.
With Dox and Jocks, this is kind of the weekend wrap-up show. Just doing it on a Tuesday instead of on a Sunday due to the travel and everything. But the only thing that hurt you last week, it helped Tillman Pride didn't play well. It helped Baracho didn't play well. But Schuff, you didn't get any help from Team Domorowski. Schuff dominated. So he's ahead in your division with 85 wins. But Dox and Jocks, first team to 100 wins. And they were close to being a buzzsaw last week. And, of course, Tom Brown did his classic, my team stinks, throughout Monday through Thursday. And then he comes back and gets 6 wins. I'm in third place, and you helped me out. I distanced myself a bit from Mounties. I'm maybe a week or two away from being comfortable in that slotting in there to that 4th playoff slot. But Dox and Jocks, I mean, they're the team to beat. Because when they're firing on all cylinders, great pitching top to bottom, enough closers to challenge in that category. And their hitters, I'm still not nuts about their lineup, but they're on a roll now. They've been on times when they've struggled, but they're on a roll these last 2 weeks for sure. And you just got to try to, I mean, I've beat them twice this year. Well, so it just matters when you catch them. But when they're on a roll like this, they are a juggernaut.
They are tough to beat. They got 2 home runs from Avi Garcia last night on the White Sox. And so that got them off to a solid start there. They had a numbers advantage on me hitting-wise last night, so I kind of expected to be down a little bit. I only had 4 guys that were playing last night. And so I'm going to have my work cut out for me. I did beat them the last time I played them. I beat them 5-4-1, I think it was. But I need to catch them on a downtrend hitting-wise because pitching I have an advantage with the numbers, and if I can catch them on a down week hitting, I could really make up some even more ground. And I'm 8 games back right now, but I could, maybe get back. Who's playing this week? I forget.
Toronto Mounties. That's a big game for both of us because Mounties is chasing me, and Slammers is playing them. And then you got Bandits and Domorowski, and you got Bandits. That really hurt him last week. That really dropped him almost, I think, probably out of contention. But, you never know. Plus, he's got a new job. He's in Hawaii. I mean, some of this stuff, life takes over, and you can't quite focus as much. Tower has Team Britain, so I really need Kim to buckle up here and play those guys tight. But really the biggest matchups, I think, are you and Dox and Jocks because, you beat them. That helps me us in the West, but it also keeps you in the race. They throw a 9-1 and 8-2 on you, and it's probably over, and nobody's catching them in the West.
Right.
And then Slammers and Mounties because, you're able to throw a 6-4 or a 7-3 on Dox and Jocks, and Mounties is able to do the same against Slammers, and now you got 3 weeks to go, and you're only 4 games back. Then it's a whole new ballgame because you got to win your division. I mean, you're more than likely you're winning your division in the East to get in.
Right, exactly. And, you can do me a huge favor with taking care of Pride because they're one of the teams that I'm chasing. I got to catch them as well as catch Slammers. So if they can get knocked back a little bit, as of now,
you're just a couple games back of Pride, yeah.
Yeah, I could jump him, and
you're only 7 games back of Slammers? Well, it says 8, but 8. I mean 7 in the win column. I hate these ties. I don't know the best way to. Hey, this was going to ask you: in the playoffs, are there ties, or does it go to the home team?
I don't know.
We'll have to look that up because I mean I guess when you do a 2-week playoff, typically it would switch, right? The first week you'd be or maybe it's the home team, but I was trying to think of what difference does it make if Dox and Jocks is a 1 seed and I'm a 4 seed if you don't get ties or anything?
I would have to say when it comes to the playoffs, they're going to have to give it to either give it all to the home team or they will alternate categories. What they've been doing this year, if you didn't want to have ties in your league, the home team would always would get the tie in the category. They would get the win in that category, which is a little bit unfair during the regular season because some teams have more home games than other teams. Now in the playoffs, I think that you should be rewarded for finishing
Right.
at the top of the division, or having a better record than whoever you're playing.
But if there were ties, the home team got all of them, right? So you could go 5-3-3-4 and get all four wins. They didn't alternate, right? Or did they?
I thought they did. I thought that the home team would get the first tie, and then it would alternate after that. But
yeah, that should be how it is. I bet that's got to be how it is in the playoffs. But we'll check it out. I mean, we're 4 weeks away. I mean, 3.5 weeks away. But we'll check it out. I just wondered about that when I was laying in bed at night, awake, figuring out how can I beat Docs and Jocks in the first round if I make the playoffs. I was like, wait a minute, who gets the ties? Or do you just tie, and if you end up tying, if you end up going 5-5, it goes to the team with the best. That would be fair too. If you go 5-5, or if you go 4-4-2, it just goes to the top seed, which would be fair. Right. I mean, you should get rewarded for winning. But they're up 100 games. I mean, 100 wins already. That's pretty impressive. They've had 2 just buzzsaw-ish weeks in a row, and they've dodged significant injury in their pitching staff, and they've dodged the closer dilemma, whether it be injury, demotion, or trade. Everybody else has been hit by that except really Docs and Jocks. They're 3 main closers, and they picked up Ramos. That was a smart pickup on them mid-year. And they picked up, is it Tollison in Texas after he was named? So those were smart, and they drafted Rosenthal. Rosenthal had some injury for maybe a week, but they've dodged a bullet on demotions, on all that stuff, and everybody else has been hit by it. So they're in the best shape, top to bottom pitching.
Yeah, for sure. You got Price and Kershaw anchoring your staff.
When Price got new life, he has pitched so good up there in Toronto, man.
Oh yeah. You can tell he's just he's ready to play in the postseason.
Yeah.
Some of these other guys they have, they got decent numbers. Miller, Lackey, Lynn.
They've pitched well.
Solid years.
They've pitched well.
Yeah,
they pitched deep in the ball games. They strike out guys. And they pitch deep enough that they can, part of the problem is if you have a guy who pitches 5-6 innings, a lot of times these teams are winning games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Well, if you've got a guy who averages pitching 7-8 innings, I mean, Lackey, you just have a better chance of getting wins. So, I like their top to bottom. I mean, they would say, didn't they? They had a New York guy that got injured, Pineda, but I think is he back? No, he's on the DL. So that's been one injury.
He's on the DL still. Mm-hmm.
But Kershaw has been huge for them. Started off rocky early in the year. Remember all the talk of, is Kershaw something wrong? Should he be an all-star? Man, since the all-star break, that guy's been unbelievable.
He's been lights out. Yep.
And Price, his last 2 in Toronto, like you said, new life, knowing he's going to get a bunch of runs. That dude is just crushing it. But I still. I mean, look, Prince Fielder's a stud. DJ LeMahieu, they picked him up, and he's been hitting well. Nelly Cruz, great early, starting better. Brett Gardner's been better than I thought he would be. But,
Cruz has been he's been starting to hit again. I think he had a big week last week where he hit 4 homers, I think it was.
Yep, he came back the last 2 weeks. Hosmer's been very good, which I didn't expect, full year for that. But
any of the Royals, you just didn't expect them. You thought, well, maybe last year was just a, kind of a fluky run that they had at the end of the year. But man, these guys have been hitting. They've been staying consistent.
And even when they made that run, they did it on pitching and defense and manufacturing runs. They didn't do it on Hosmer hitting 300. They didn't do it on all these home runs, and now they're doing it. That's why I didn't pick any. I didn't pick them because I'm a fan, but I just thought, hey, this is a we beat you 3-2, not a we beat you 8-1 team.
Right.
So,
right. Yep.
Well, I mean, Slammers Mounties, I think, is a big matchup. And not to say that Bandits Domorowski's not, but Domorowski's out of it. Bandits is pretty close to being out of it. Britain has a chance to be the spoiler, and I really need that help because, once again, Tom Brown posted, man, my guys like playing on the weekend. And I'm like, yeah, they really do. It's quite amazing how his weeks typically work out.
It's uncanny how it happens that way. I had a big lead on him when I played him a couple weeks ago. I think I end up having to settle for a tie.
Yeah.
And it was kind of demoralizing because I thought, man, I have owned this guy all week. All of a sudden Friday rolls around and his guys start hitting like gangbusters, and there's nothing you can do. No. You can't stop them. I mean, you just have to hope your guys are as hot or hotter than his guys are. And if they're not, and if they go into a little bit of a slump on the weekend, like my guys have a tendency to do, that's just the worst. And then you just see your lead slowly evaporating, and just like, oh my gosh. And I almost lost to him, like, going, please, just at least get a tie out of this thing.
Yeah.
After I was up, I think 7-3, 8-2 for most of the week.
The thing with him is I think the last 3 weeks in a row, don't quote me on this because I'm probably wrong, but I'm close. He's had a pitcher on Sunday, have a no-hitter or have a no-hitter through 7 the last 3 weeks in a row. Like, it's uncanny how his guys tend to happen to be pitching on Sunday when he needs their numbers, and they throw no-hitters. Hamels, Kluber had a no-hitter through like 7. They strike out 12 guys. It's pretty insane. But, Baracho played me really tough and then just didn't really have much offensive numbers this week. So Tom was able to sweep pretty much. He tied steals last week. Got beat in a couple of pitching categories, but it was enough to get him a 6.22. And Deron, I'm looking at Docs and Jocks numbers from last week, and they go 8-1-1 with pride. 58, 16, 49, 4 steals, 324. I mean, that's a buzzsaw of a batting. And then they go 78 strikeouts, 6 wins, 5 saves, 3.1 ERA, and 1.12 WHIP. That's pretty much a
wiped
buzzsaw.
me out too.
Yeah, they would have crushed me offensively.
I was looking at their week, and I'm just like going, yeah, they pretty much would have picked me apart too. I would have won 2 of the offensive categories. I would have won RBIs and steals, and even saves. I would have lost to them. I think I would have lost 8-2 to them.
I would have tied him in home runs. I would have beat him in steals, oddly enough. So I would have been 1-1. I would have lost that one. I would have tied him.
I would have gone 3-7. Excuse me. I carried saves.
I think I would have gone 2-7-1 with them. 2-7-1 is what I would have gone with those guys that week. So I think we can christen them Buzzsaw of the week. That's pretty impressive what they did. Taking care of Tillman Pride, but we were christening them the team to beat those. So that should start their swoon hopefully this week, because we're saying that nobody's going to catch them.
Well, and I even tried on the league manager's note on the league page to really even put, Docs and Jocks on brink of blowing West Race open. I was trying to put the whammy on them, but didn't work.
They didn't blow it open just because Tom came back and got that deal. So they're only up 2 games on Tommy G. It's really a race for the East, a race for the title in the West, and then a race for that third playoff spot in the West. I mean, there's really 3 races going on right now, which is really kind of fun. There's, I think, a 3-team race in the East. There's 2 teams fighting for the top spot in the West, but they're both pretty much guaranteed the playoffs. And there's 2 teams fighting for that 4th playoff spot. So it's kind of exciting coming down the stretch. I mean, everybody's got something to play for, even if you're Don Morosky or Britton or even Pat, who, yes, Pat, I'm writing you off. Mahalo. Aloha means hello and goodbye. And this time I mean it as goodbye. But you still have something to play for because you can play spoiler. You can knock some teams out of the race. And that's always fun to do too,
Yeah.
So
that was a tough week for him last week because it dropped him 10.5 back. He's got to bounce back with a big week this week. And,
his whole Facebook page and posting is he's out in Hawaii trying on shirts and all that stuff. So I think he's moved off the mainland and he's starting his new job. And I don't know if he's worried too much about this. Come on, Pat, you can do it though. Take care of Tower. Your last thing. If after you take care of Tower, you can just take the rest of 3 weeks off if you want. I'm fine with that. All right, Deron. Well, it's good to have you back. You're leaving Thursday?
Leaving Thursday, be back on Sunday. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like Thursday night or Friday. Maybe at the track. You could take your iPad and we could do a in between races or something. We could do a podcast. That'd be kind of fun because there's not video. Anyway, we'll talk about something because we can do a long podcast in between. And then we'll probably do a video either Sunday night or Monday again. And we'll have 3 weeks left, so we'll know a lot at that point. So anyway, safe travels. Hope the horsies run well. The Arlington Millions. Have a blast and win millions. And let us know how it goes. And good luck this week.
Do.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Same to you.